This video is on the pinning for the digestive system for complete anatomy. Now, I suggest you do the head first, and then we're going to work on the structures around the liver and the stomach. We'll look at the regions of the small intestines as well. So, here's the head. And I'm going to hide the skeleton for a second. We talked about some of these structures in the last lab. We talked about the nasopharynx, which is behind the nasal cavity, the oropharynx, which is behind the oral cavity, and the laryngopharynx, which is behind the larynx. And the laryngopharynx leads to the esophagus. Now remember, these structures, the three parts of the pharynx, are going to be on the respiratory system quiz, which is coming up. Now, the other thing I did to add a couple questions to the respiratory system quiz and to remove questions from the final quiz was I included the salivary glands. So we looked at the models of the salivary glands. Now we're going to look at where they are. I want you to pin the 3 salivary glands. And again, you're going to go to Tools, you're going to go to Label. It pins it. Ta-da! Parotid salivary gland. Now, I also want the parotid duct. There's the parotid duct right there. And it's leading right above the molars right there. Now down here is the submandibular gland. And that's under the mandible. It's a very well-named gland. Now the third salivary gland is hidden. So we actually have to tilt it, and it's hiding way in here. So if I actually remove the skeleton, we can see the third one. There is the sublingual gland. So, and that is the third salivary gland. We could also see the oral cavity right there. You could see the sockets for the teeth. So, you probably want to just do a close-up of this and have the salivary glands, parotid salivary gland, parotid duct, submandibular salivary gland, and notice the duct goes and hooks up with the sublingual salivary gland, which is under the tongue, and those ducts go to the floor of the mouth in there. So that is the first part of the pinning. And remember, these salivary glands are going to be on the respiratory quiz. Because we're using the head model, we might as well include those as well. And we have the intestinal model. Now this tissue over here, it's actually an organ. It got promoted. That is the greater omentum. That's part of your mesenteries. It's draping over the small intestines. It's actually a really cool structure. You could actually see the lymphatic vessels in there. Let's put some arteries in the arteries in there. It's actually really cool in real life. Click hide. So I want you to do 2 things. First, you're going to pin the parts of the intestine. And I would turn it slightly like so. And we have the esophagus coming to the stomach. So we have the esophagus coming down. We have the stomach right there. It's a J-shaped organ. We have the liver, the left and right lobes. There's the gallbladder. We have the spleen. The spleen's on your lymphatic quiz. There's the pancreas hiding out. And we have the intestines. Now the problem is we can't see the duodenum right there. This right here is the ileum. This right here is the jejunum. And so the stomach goes into the duodenum. That is so pushing it, calling it the duodenum. And the duodenum goes behind the transverse colon right there. And there's the duodenum. There's the duodenal jejunal flexure. We suddenly have the jejunum. And when on the test, this will be the jejunum. I'll put the sticker somewhere up here. That part is definitely the jejunum. The duodenum is going to be this little S between the stomach and that part. And then all of this is the ileum. So that part is the ileum right there. And on the test, I'll put the sticker there. The ileum leads into the cecum. So the colon starts at the cecum. And there's our cute little appendix. Remember, the appendix is on the lymphatic system quiz as well. Here's the cecum. We have the ascending colon, the hepatic flexure. I don't like the right clinic flexure because I flunk left and right looking at these. I actually spun it around to make sure I was correct. Liver's right there, that's hepatic flexure. We have the transverse colon. We go around to the splenic flexure. I do not like left because, again, I have to spin it around to see left. And we have the descending colon. Then see how the sigmoid colon really is an S? And then we have our rectum right there. So I want you to do two of these for me. The first one, we are just doing the major parts. I want you to do cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. Try to get at an angle for the sigmoid colon too. Jejunum, ileum, stomach, and just one of the lobes of the liver. So that's the superficial structures. Now there's actually some very cool structures I want you to learn. So the third of the screen captures, we're going to hide the colon by jejunum, by cecum, and we're actually going to remove the cover of the stomach as well by cover of the stomach. So this, and zoom in. To do your pinning, you're going to have to rotate it a little bit, but I'm starting with this view. This is our left lobe of the liver. I am doing all sorts of acrobatics to remember this is the patient's left lobe. That is the right lobe of the liver. And notice this little part is not highlighted. So left and right are easy. We have that nice folliculiform ligament right there. We have this nice round ligament down there. Now if we tilt it a little bit, we have that lobe. It is a nice little square between the round ligament right there, the gallbladder. We have another ligament back there. So this little square is the quad fourth lobe of the liver. The caudate lobe is all the way back here. That's the caudate. You don't have to pin this one just because, notice I had to turn all the way around to find it. So that's why I'm not making you pin it, but you do need to know it for the test. So we're doing 3 of the 4 lobes. Gallbladder with its nice fundus right there. We have the cystic duct right there. We have the cystic duct right there, and that goes from the common hepatic duct into the gallbladder. And then we have the bile duct. Now the bile duct, and this is why I said you're going to have to rotate a little bit, is actually going to come down, goes all the way to the back, and it's going to come out that structure right there. That's the major duodenal papilla. And what happens is the main pancreatic duct right there and the common bile duct both exit at the major duodenal papilla. I believe I said it 5,000 times in lecture, so it will be on your lab exam. I'll ask you the major duodenal papilla. Now up here, up here, can I find it? We have the minor duodenal papilla. This is not as exciting, and we have the accessory duct. So I want you to label the major duodenal papilla, main pancreatic duct, and common bile duct as well. And try to get these all on one labeling. So far on our labeling, we have right lobe, left lobe, quadrate lobe, gallbladder, bile duct, main pancreatic duct, and the major duodenal papilla. You might not be able to get it completely in, but at least look at it. Then we have our stomach. They're calling them gastric folds. These are rugae. We'll see them again in the bladder. So these are the rugae. And the stomach. They stretch out for when you overeat at Thanksgiving dinner. And lastly, I want you to do the 3 folds of the muscle layer. So this is the inner oblique layer. This is the middle circular layer. And this is the outer mucosal layer. Remember, for the intestines, we have only an inner circular and an outer longitudinal layer. So here, and look at the directions they go. That's why I want you to actually do that. So again, for our digestive pinning, our third pinning, right, left, quad, bile duct, gallbladder, main, pancreatic duct, if you can get it, the major duodenal papilla, because I'm definitely asking you that on the test, the gastric fold, which are really rugae, the oblique layer, the circular layer, and the longitudinal layer. Thank you.